So,
oh diggity.
what are we doing? We'll just do the Desperate Measures as episode 100, and then next week, we'll do a mailbag special, but instead of saying it's a mailbag special, we'll say celebrations, and we'll chuck everything else on the end of mailbag.
Yeah, I don't know. To me, it's just like, I want to put up a Facebook post and an Instagram post going, we've reached 100.
Yeah.
Listen to our 100th episode. And then people look at it and go, Desperate Measures, that.
Yeah.
That's my point.
Great argument. Get Into Gate. This is episode 100!
Sort of!
Celebrations. We are here to celebrate. Well, look, we're always here every single week. We're celebrating Stargate, specifically at the moment, Stargate SG-1. We've been speaking about it. We are just over a third of the way through. We are just under halfway through Season 5 of Stargate SG-1.
Mitch knows maths.
Thank you. Forgot what number.
Look, I didn't even think we'd make 10.
Honestly,
Honestly,
well, yeah, what
10
did we,
listeners.
after episode 4, we took a 3-week break.
Well, after episode 1, you took a 3-week break.
Yeah, that's true.
So true.
Hope no one from work listens, because you guys come in here and I just...
We didn't miss much, to be honest, with the episodes that we reviewed.
Emancipation.
Emancipation, that was terrible. Especially when Maddie goes, I love Emancipation. I'm like, what?
We have to can this podcast now.
I was
We're
already
not
on
back episode 4.
I was already on the back foot because I was in Mitch's chair trying to press buttons that I hadn't pressed in like 4 years, trying to make sure everything was working.
Man.
And then so I had to defend myself against a great episode.
And you actually had to ask Maddie before we recorded the podcast, do you actually like Emancipation?
I'm like,
are you joking?
Is this just for the podcast?
Yeah, like, I need to know now.
Is this podcast going to be real, or you got a character you're playing right now that likes shit episodes? I just need to know.
Like, there's a yin and yang works well
Yes.
in podcasting and radio and stuff like that. So I thought this could either be a great theatre or it's just going to be completely organic.
Everything I say on this is 100. You know?
Oh, shit.
Oh, I didn't even mean that. I meant the emoji 100. But everything I say is me. You know?
Yeah. Good call.
I know, fake-ass bitch.
We are the Get Into Gate team.
best
We're
thing
here to
was it
celebrate Get Into Gate.
Emancipation and politics. I'm like, it like broke my tiny mind. Broke my monkey brain.
Last week you told me you're a gangster named Biggie Biggs.
Yeah.
Is that 100?
Fully 100,
Bro?
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Oh, so look.
I hold my zats sideways, bitch.
All right, we have got a jam-packed 100th episode.
Oh, jam-packed.
And look, there's so much. Maddie, what do we got?
I'm glad you asked.
Yeah.
Mitch, what have we got?
Look, it's the greatest hits. That's what it is. And no, that doesn't mean we're just going to sit here. It's not a time for a clip show. That's not what we're doing. We're just we're gonna have a couple of people's favorite segments. We're just gonna chat about the show. You know, we got some feedback for some people.
I have a Stargate in my car, if that helps.
Sure.
Remember I sent you the video of that one that I bought that's like the size
Oh,
of like
really?
a dinner plate?
You
Yes,
got
yes,
it.
yes.
Yeah, it's in the car.
Look, we got a bit of mailbag.
It's been a while, hasn't
We've got a
it?
bit of trivia from Rhys.
See if I've been paying attention.
Yeah.
Is
Look,
it
it's-
100? Is it 100 questions?
Yes.
Yeah, in 30 seconds.
In 30 minutes?
All multiple choice.
Do you want me to play Daniel Jackson now? Or say that until later?
I'll get him, mate. I'll get him.
Oh, as Brendan says, the timer doesn't really count. So.
No.
Yeah, I say that. Because I need
It
more time.
totally does. Totally does.
Totally does. Have you got a Walter Diaries as well?
No.
Oh. So we've just got mailbag and...
Yeah.
Look, it's jam-packed. I told you.
Have we got it across the universe?
Yeah, do we?
No.
No, we
I
don't.
wrote all this down.
Did Graham come in to join us for our 100th?
No. Who's Graham?
Wow.
Well,
Jeez.
Wow.
a week. Out of sight, out of mind.
Wow.
Is that the piano guy's name?
Wow.
Holy
you
shit.
hired him.
Why do I think his name was like Terry or something?
His crutch is next to your head every week.
Oh.
On his invoice, it's just big togs. So he would.
Big Tog. Big Tog Industries.
Do we have any of our special fifth man guests for our 100th episode?
They can call in if they want.
Yeah, get in
Yeah.
it.
But maybe we'll
I was looking for a
reminisce about
no
him.
just to complete the rule of three.
No.
That's fine.
No.
we don't.
I'll tell you what, I might start off something that I did touch on a little bit last week, but we did put up a poll last week following the Between Two Fires episode. Now, we said last week we do like Narim, and I actually felt like he was around in a lot of episodes because we were introduced to him in what season? Was season 1? Was that
Enigma?
Yeah.
Enigma was in season 1, right?
Yep.
And then he
You look like an
popped up
angel.
in what?
Pretense.
So season
Shades of Grey.
or end of 3? What was that?
3 Shades of Grey.
Yeah.
Well, Shades of Grey end of season 2. Pretense was definitely season 3. Was Shades of Grey in season 3?
I thought it was 3 as well.
No, it's 2 because it's with Foothold. Isn't Foothold in season? Geez, we should listen to a Stargate podcast.
Anyway,
to maybe learn.
Yeah.
So he's
Let's
only
go
in
make
what
one.
4 episodes?
Yeah.
Is the character pop up? Like
I think
he's-
so.
Yeah,
Well,
this-
as
that was
Narim.
that was the 4th one.
Well, sure, yeah. As Narim, he pops up in 4 episodes, but because
Yeah.
he's been a part of it for 5 seasons,
Season 3, Shades of Grey, just to jump in there on you.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank
paying
you.
It's in
attention.
my bottom 3.
I felt like
Good
I felt
call.
like he's been around for a while, and
You
I
got a
do.
spreadsheet.
Absolutely.
I do like the guy, but we did have to pose the question: was he making his home computer that wanted to make him meals, spoke very sexy to him, sound like Carter? Was it cute or creepy? I went through and pretty much across the board, high 80% saying creepy, and the low teens or whatever saying that it was cute. But I thought I'd run through some of the other responses that we got back from that poll. So I'll start off with. Kelly Soldados from Facebook. Straightforward.
Wait, you guys didn't let that slide.
Mate, that was a roll of the tongue there. It was perfect.
All right,
Nailed it.
so if I'd have said that,
On
it would
radio,
still
mate.
be
That's what I do.
right. No, I see how it is now. That's fine.
Straightforward and sincere. That's what he is. That just happens to come off at creepy at times. Don't worry about it. It's like that's just his. That's just his. Don't worry. It's just an Alexa. Don't worry about it.
I do love that we're saying Alexa and not Siri. I do really enjoy
Well,
that.
yeah, that's what you. I mean, you got me into it.
Google
I do,
Plus?
Sure.
Nobody knows what that is.
Google Home.
Google Hi. That's right.
Yeah.
Jason Wilson. Is that my voice, Narim? Says Carter. Yeah, that's creepy and weird. Who makes someone they barely know the Alexa type voice throughout their house? Who would you have if you had to come home? I mean, I know 3 of us here are married, and our wives would probably not appreciate it if we. First. Hey, look, just
Hang
imagine.
on, but
it's
do
just
any of
us
our
living
wives
at home.
listen to this podcast?
No, so we're single
No.
men at home. Who would we have talking to us when we walk through the door?
Is there like a Carterbot Roomba
Look, let's-
Bluetooth
equivalent.
limit, or is it,
Okay,
or are we
or-
just talking voice?
That probably does change things.
Yeah.
You know what? We've heard her and her, so Scarlett Johansson probably works on both levels. But let's keep it PG for a second. Purely voice.
Harley
I'd have Claudia Black.
Claudia Black's
Sexy
good.
voice.
Harley Quinn for me.
Which one?
Welcome
Which
home,
you know-
Rhys.
Oh, mate.
Oh, the chick from The Big Bang Theory doing that really bad Boston accent in the animated
No,
one.
the game one.
Oh, yeah.
She's-
You wouldn't want
She's
the
the
original?
original.
Crazy bitch.
Oh, was that
yeah.
Arlene Sorkin?
pretty sure.
Okay,
Yeah,
if it's
I
the
like 'em
original, I'm
wild.
okay with that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I like them a bit nuts.
Well, the animated series. Yeah, she's the original.
See, do I want to go sexy or do I want to go just like a voice I really like hearing, like a voice you hear on like a book on tape?
Yeah, like if that's the thing. If you didn't know whose voice it was, would it be sexy, or are you just choosing?
Oh, or Wayne Pygram. Hello, John. When you walk in the room.
No, that'd creep me the hell
Yeah,
out.
see, that's what I was going to go for something like Helen Mirren. Like, it's British, so it's a
Oh,
bit like
geez.
it's like Alfred to my Batman type thing. Like she would help make me feel like I was organised with that sort of like strict older woman British.
What
sort
about
of,
Mom
Well, that's
from
where I'm
007?
headed. I'm headed to
Judi Dench?
Judes.
She'd scare me
Dame
too much.
Judi Dench to you, Muppets.
Yeah.
Dame.
The great
Damo.
Damo Judy Dench.
Yeah. I would have Damo Edwards as my Alexa.
Fuck yeah,
Hey, mate, he's a Broncos boy. I'll have him over. Come on, Damo. We're going to have some beers
Absolutely.
next season, mate.
legend.
Sucks you have to live in New South Wales and you're a Queensland and Broncos supporter, but hey, that's,
Hey, the Gibson brothers been doing it their whole lives.
Yeah.
Well, 20 years at least.
Yep.
Yeah, I think I would go in that kind of vein. I would go with like a nice sounding sort of regal lady, like my old oh sorry, I'm just trying to bring it up here so we're gonna hear it. Kate Mulgrew, who plays Captain Janeway in Star Trek.
It was mercifully kept out of the press, but still, the suddenness with which I popped. This was not at all merciful.
I like her voice. She's got this raspberry, like Catherine Hepburn-y kind of voice.
Would you allow her to go?
My name is Wise.
Would you allow her to go Orange is the New Black Russian like for a day or two a week?
Yeah, that could be fun. Like Russian Fridays or something. Yeah, that could be fun.
Russian Fridays.
Yeah, I'd have to.
Mix me up a drink, would you,
Yeah,
Kate?
but I'd have to pick the phrasing. It's like, you know how like Narim had that creepy like, "Welcome home, Narim. Shall I prepare your evening meal?" None of that shit. None of that.
Oh, see, that's where I think again, because I've heard her in a role purely from her voice, Scarlett Johansson, from her. Like, I just, it'd feel like, that's a loving voice, you know. And then
I'd probably choose Stephen Hawking.
yes,
Sexy.
Welcome home, Rhys. Can I prepare your evening meal?
Yeah, very straightforward, to the point.
yes.
No mucking around.
You know you can have that voice in your house now.
Well, no, he's dead.
Actually, you know
I'm
what?
talking about his creepy computer voice.
Right.
You can have that. That's a thing. That's not his actual voice. That's a computer.
Bullshit.
I think I've missed the most glaring and obvious.
I was just going to go show you mine. This is mine.
I'd like to, honey, but I'm not sure how.
Marge Simpson.
Yeah.
Don't you have a
So
nagging
good.
wife at home already? Isn't that what you said?
Not
No,
quite
I've never
that
said
rough.
that. I never recorded myself say that.
Oh, you know what? Is she on the TV in the corner? Sigourney Weaver.
Yeah.
Oh.
I have in what I
That
think
could be
2
good.
Disney movies now. She's been the voice. She was in Wall-E and Finding Dory.
That's where
she
I'm
was
going
the
now.
voiceover.
I'm headed to like voiceover actors, and it's like really, really good voices that I like
James Earl
like to
Jones.
hear.
You know what? I think the most obvious one for me, as far as like an AI running, Paul Bettany, Jarvis. I just think that would make me just feel
Yeah.
just that little bit more like Tony Stark. Well, welcome
No,
home.
I'd
sir.
want,
Thanks, man.
I'd want the other guy from I've forgotten his name. He was in Firefly, and he did the voice of iRobot.
Oh, Alan.
Alan Tudyk. That's
Tudyk,
it.
yeah.
Yeah. No, he does good. He does good voice.
Out of all the names,
Because he has that funny voice from that he does in Transformers. Remember, he does,
Ooh.
and 28 Days, 28 Days Later. No, 28 Days. The not Julia Roberts. The whatever her name is.
Sandra
one.
Bullock.
Sandra Bullock one. That's it.
Great movie.
He does that that like au fait German accent. Yeah. That's
out of all the names we've all said, I only know the ones that I said.
I've just figured out who I want. I want Josh Robert Thompson. He's the guy that he voiced Jeff the Robot in the Late Late Show with Craig Ferguson, and he does all the impressions. He does a bang on Morgan Freeman.
Oh, shit.
He does all those bang on voices. He does Arnold Schwarzenegger that he used to do for
No, I've got it.
who's that radio guy that Ash listens to?
Howard Stern.
Howard Stern. He used to impersonate Arnold Schwarzenegger for Howard Stern. That's who I'd get, hands down. Josh Robert Thompson.
No, I've just won the race. Peter Dinklage.
Nah.
Yeah,
Nailed it.
that'd be fun.
Yeah, I've won it. I've won.
Because it'd be condescending, but in a fun way.
Yeah. Well, he's in the.
Oh, you're
he
home,
he
Brendan.
voices over that Destiny game.
Yeah.
He's your AI,
Oh.
and it's freaking cool. I'm like, fuck, that sounds like Peter Dinklage, and obviously it was.
It totally was.
Actually, I've just even though I've locked in Josh Robert Thompson, I know any of the Star Trek fans that are listening are going to want me to say Major Barrett. I'd have to have Major Barrett as well.
I feel like if we're celebrating all things
that's actually
Stargate,
two. We
that's
missed one
actually- Jeez, we're early on in the podcast.
Yeah.
I just feel like if we're celebrating
might
all
have to
things
do a box
podcast,
of shame.
we've got to do it. That's one. That's two.
All of them.
Well, she's the voice of all the computers on the show.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
She was
yeah.
the husband to Gene
Oh
Roddenberry.
yeah, that's pretty cool.
And then she voiced the actual AI computers on the Enterprise and
Yeah,
Voyager and
that's
DS9
cool.
and stuff like that. So, but they're not pushy. Like they never do that weird welcome home. Can I prepare your evening meal? It's she only responds when you ask a question. Like I don't like that when they're taking their own kind of.
She's not on the
liberties.
ship.
Dana
Yeah.
Goddard had an alternate response to the question. Creepy would be if he were actually persistent about trying to be with her, which we never saw evidence of. He just liked thinking about her from afar while respecting her life choices that didn't revolve around him. Therefore, sweet, not
No,
creepy.
I disagree with that. That's totally creepy. If you guys came to my house and I had Mitch's voice in my Alexa,
It'd be understandable.
oh, he's got a beautiful voice, but it's like
Do you
that's,
like the nasally sound of my voice?
that's
That's how it
creepy
sounds
because
to
it's
me.
like oh, you know, I can't be with Mitch, so I'm gonna have his voice in my house
Yeah,
when I'm
well-
alone. That's creepy.
Natasha Tracy on Twitter said creepy, but less than Orlin. So it's a
Yes.
good discussion. Well, so Orlin,
Well, yeah.
Orlin
got
was
to-
he was
invasive.
rapey.
Yeah,
he had a
yeah.
rapey
He's rapey.
vibe.
He got
Because
to-
he
got to
did. He
know
was
her.
like,
Yeah.
let's bang, let's
Yeah.
go to
But
pound
Still,
town.
she was okay with that.
Oh,
Carter
God,
was
yeah.
okay.
She likes
Yeah.
it rough as guts.
Oh, bit of high pitch, bit of low pitch, Matty. Eh? Oh,
I love he says it while his daughter's sitting next to him too. That's great.
She doesn't know what that means.
Earmuffs.
It's time for the Get Into Geek Harry Mailbag
Special.
100th special.
Jeez, I totally forgot we actually had an intro for that. I
Yeah,
thought,
when
what
you
are we
started
doing?
singing
I
that,
forgot
I'm
the
like,
tune of it.
Yeah.
I'm like, why are we doing Rhys? Oh, that's
no,
right.
I need a tune because we've only got one
Yeah,
tune.
yeah.
I
But-
forgot that we only have one tune to sing along with.
yeah, I was like, why are we doing it? Has Rhys been paying attention already? I don't understand.
All right, I have three iTunes reviews here, guys.
Oh, why did you
Oh,
repeat?
Look, I'm just ecstatic.
You sound it.
Just in case you didn't hear me.
Okay.
Oh, I try and tune you out, but I've got headphones on, so
Yeah, it's hard.
yeah.
It is hard that my daughter's here because I can't really say what I want to say.
Say whatever you want, mate.
Alrighty. This one's from September
Do you remember?
16.
That's ages ago. Yeah.
21st
Do you
night of
remember?
September.
Oh, we should have played that one.
Have we not had a mailbag since then?
Nah, bro.
Haven't been that special.
All right, 5-star review from Travis _ SG12 from Australia.
Oh, Trav.
Trav Dog. Hey guys, love the podcast. It's the most addictive listen of my week. Stop it. Just an idea. Like to know your thoughts. What about a show from the Goa'uld's point of view? Why did they decide to take on the Egyptian god names and not the other planets' religious histories? And how they decided to set up the hierarchy power. Just a brief overview thought. Keep up the great potting. Live long and prosper. Trav. Oh, Trav, that's one.
Thanks, Trav.
Thanks, Trav.
Great review.
Top effort.
That is an interesting.
Yeah, because what
concept.
came first, right? It's like the Egyptians or the Goa'uld, the chicken or the egg.
Yeah, see, when he said it as so definitive there, I think that just goes... I'm always stuck in, I guess, the confusion I had when I first watched this show. Even through all these rewatches we've been doing the last couple of years, I tend to revert to the 20-year-old way of thinking when I've been watching these shows. And I'm like, hang on. My first reaction to that is, well, they didn't take on the god names. They were the gods and the Egyptians started following them. But I'm like,
Yeah.
well, hang on. Dude, I don't know that that's true. That's just how I always thought of the show for the last 15, 20 years. So you guys that have rewatched it 1,000 times,
and it's
correct
like
me.
sometimes Daniel will say, oh, it's taken on the personality of the whatever, you know,
Yeah, the such and such god.
such and such god. And you're like,
Star-
well, there was no Stargate around after 3000 BC.
Yeah.
For 5,000 years, there was no Stargate. So every religion that came after Egyptology, even.
You got there eventually.
Uppity. That's Egypt, folks.
That's all, folks.
Egypt.
Where did they come from? Because there was no Goa'uld here, unless they came by ship, I suppose. But then the world was lost.
Adam and Eve, mate.
Yeah.
No, good call.
Where did they come from?
Yeah,
the real one
Mate,
god.
Seth was here the whole time.
Like I said, yeah, that's right. And Hathor,
Oh, she was asleep though, man.
and Osiris, and Isis.
Well, they were all asleep. Seth was the only one up and about.
Yeah, he was just banging things.
Banging away.
Not doing much.
But then later on, but then
Hanging
there's
around.
also, it's like, well, we hear about all the other non-Egyptian gods that are Goa'uld. Like you.
Who?
And
You were
Every
good.
single one.
Not me. I think
Oh,
I thought he
me?
was talking to you. Yeah.
You. You.
everyone done to death.
Mate, join in. Don't get
Oh,
upset.
No, that you'll learn this in a couple of years, but that's actually a line from the show that someone says.
right.
Every joke done to death. But yeah, so there's a whole bunch, and then there's like the all the other gods that they do, like
Yeah, we got
Morgana that they bring up and all that kind of stuff, which is all like medieval England sort of times, and it's like, well, sorry, what? That was only like 1,500 years ago.
yeah.
So yeah, it is a bit of a grey area on. Yeah, I think you coined it best with chicken and the egg. Like,
Yeah.
Which did the world already believe in those gods, and
Yeah.
the Goa'uld rocked up and did it, or
Yeah, because the Unas don't really believe in a hierarchy, do they? Or like an almighty?
No, they had Sokar, so I guess they are the Christian. They are the demons.
Yeah, okay.
But then, yeah, did they come here before or after Ra? Because the movie sets up that Ra was
Yeah.
the first
Well, it
one
had to
come
be
here
before.
10,000 years ago.
Yeah. So within that 5,000 year period, all of that would have had to have happened.
But I think
Yeah.
what we're getting is when he landed on the planet and took control of that young boy, was he Ra then? Or did he see cave writings on a wall or whatever it was and become Ra from that? Or was he already
did he
Ra?
invent Ra and then say, I'm your god Ra? Or did he, or was it pre-existing and then
Which
he's
is
like,
basically,
I can
you know,
pretend to be.
what
Well, I reckon Ra.
That's basically what Jesus did. He just rocked up and said, "Hey, I'm Jesus. I'm a god."
Yeah, well, it's kind of
Oh
like,
no, I'm the son of God.
No, Mary said that.
like it is kind of like the Crusades, how the Christians would come and then they would inherit the pagan beliefs. If that's what you're talking about, like the alien comes to Earth, sees Ra in a cave painting, and goes, "Okay, I'm that guy. I'm your deity."
Speaking of pagan beliefs, Merry Christmas to everyone in a few weeks' time. And if you don't think you're celebrating a pagan religion, then go look it up and educate yourselves, you muppets.
The way that I've, like, between the two, if it is a grey area, I've always just thought of it as they are the gods. They have those names and they've arrived. Because for me, I don't see a Goa'uld and their craving of power landing and then seeing a god on a painting on a wall and went, oh, that'll be my in with these guys going, yeah, that's me. They'd rather just come down going, I'm fucking Ra and you will fucking bow down to me.
Yeah.
And they've start like lord them. Or it's like, hey, I'm your god, you will be my slaves and then I will give you reward. So some of them, and Ra comes in and goes, I'm the sun god or whatever, for whatever reason, they each have their own little thing. So for me, out of the two options, that Goa'uld, that snake, was always Ra, and that other snake was always Apophis, and they have come down, because again, for me, Ra comes down to Earth, or the Goa'uld, nameless Goa'uld, comes down to Earth, sees the young boy, takes him over or whatever, and then goes, yeah, that's me, Ra. And then what does he do? Get on the long range communication orb iPad thing, FaceTime, and says to all the other system lords that he's warring with or ruling over, going, "Hey guys, come to this one planet where we can steal some slaves and just pick a painting on the wall, and you can be that guy."
Yeah.
They've got these fake deities that they've created. You could be one of those guys. So for me, it's easier and more palatable that.
But they would have had to have
first.
convinced the people that they're gods, and they would have done that through power or what
Their
we know,
technology.
Their technology.
Yeah, makes
So would they have that when they got there, and then go, "Oi, we're your gods. Here's proof."
Well, yeah. If you look at the movie, it's like, well, Ra did land here on a ship. He came on a ship in a different as a different host, and then took over that young boy. And I guess you could look at it as well as, and you see it in the movie and in Children of the Gods. It's like, writing is forbidden beyond Abydos and all those other sort of places. So it's like, maybe it's like Ra would tell these stories. And that's why our Egyptian history is slightly different to Goa'uld history, is because it's all been told by story. It's not actually been written down. It's all, and the stories change over time and generations, and and people embellish different things. And then they finally decided, to write things on the wall in hieroglyphics and that kind of stuff. So that's why, Daniel has got to sit there and sometimes, meld what we think we knew about ancient Egyptian mythology and weave that into the Goa'uld sort of mythology, which is fun. Because, I think you make a good point. It's like they didn't all live here. Ra ruled this planet on his own, and he was the supreme system lord. He wouldn't have been sharing.
So even with the way that I look at it, that still doesn't make sense as to why all the other Goa'ulds, he have regular council meetings and go, just go out among the people so they know who you are and they can tell stories.
He was telling stories. No, like Ra would tell stories to his slaves.
Right.
And then those stories would because there was no Netflix, mate, so they had to entertain themselves somehow.
It's before MySpace.
And they weren't allowed.
Around this stone with scripture in it. Yeah,
they weren't allowed to bathe, so there's only so much sex they could have before disease set in. So they had to.
Natural selection.
They had to entertain themselves somehow, so they would entertain themselves with story. They would gather around a campfire and tell stories of these amazing gods. It's like, okay, well, I was a slave for one of Ra's high priestesses or something like that. Here's a story that she told me. Yeah. And that story carried down through the
Let me tell you about Hathor. What a bitch. Because
such a bad wig.
Because I think for me, then, like we were talking before about their ships, the idea that they found the gods and said, I'm going to be that guy. Paintings on the wall is like them flying down and seeing a pyramid and going, let's build our ships to fit around that, as opposed to flying down these pyramid-shaped ships going, build me something to land this on, bitch. And then all the slaves going, let's just build these pyramids everywhere. These are our gods. We'll do it. Like when you think now, like in real world, we still don't know how the fuck those things were built. Like considering the technology, the time, how perfect they are in shape, size, latitude, longitude. They point true north. All this other bullshit facts about the pyramids. We have no idea, but they said slaves couldn't build that. Like, no, slaves with a common goal and all this. Like, people just making up stories. Like, no one knows.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite.
And there was a romance in storytelling back in the day because it was the only sort of form of entertainment. So it's like they would say things in a very interpretive way. Like, it was revealed years ago. It's like they'd always say, "Oh, you know, Jesus could walk on water." And when you say Jesus, well, no, the phrase "walk on water" meant you followed the river. So if you were walking by the river, following the river bank, you were walking on water.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So Jesus never walked across water and defied physics. It was he would follow the river.
Found like a very shallow stream
Uh-oh.
and just like, start there, look at me. Oh,
I left
Yeah.
and we were talking about chicken and the egg, and now we're talking about Christianity.
No, we still are. We're talking about how the stories of all the Egyptian gods, you know, disseminated through all the slaves and all that kind of stuff.
So is there a hierarchy in the Goa'uld, or is it sort of every man
Mate,
for himself?
go
every
back
man
and watch
slash woman?
Joel and I's Memories. You got that little pyramid, remember?
Oh,
With
of
little-
course, but
Oh no, was that Seth? That might have been.
yeah,
Seth
I think it
or
was.
Joel and I's Memories? But yeah, so you'll find out later in this season with Summit and Last Stand. But basically, Ra was the supreme system lord. He ruled over everybody. Then there was
Oh
like,
yeah,
That's
was
right.
Seth,
And then-
yeah,
then
had
there
the
was like
pyramid
5
thing.
or 10.
and then once he died, that it was.
Yeah, well, then there was 5 or 10 system lords, so they all
Yeah.
had their own territories in the galaxy.
Right.
But then when we killed Ra, they all started fighting over who was going to become the new sort of big
Supreme
leader.
leader.
So
That's
there's
right.
definitely a hierarchy. Yeah.
All right, number 2.
Jesus. Maybe we're
Go on,
worried
Trav.
we wouldn't have enough gear.
5-star review here by MFS from
Motherfucking
MFS
sick.
Review
Oh, okay.
from USA. It's 22nd of September. Can't recommend it enough. Easily the best Stargate first watch rewatch podcast out there.
Whoa.
Stop it.
Sounds familiar.
Stop
Have we
it.
read
Stop
that
it,
already?
MFS.
MFS.
I think
I started out listening to a couple, but after a few weeks, I ditched the other one and went exclusively to Get Into Geek. The show is hilarious. The banter is great, and it's awesome. And it's awesome as a long-time fan who's seen each episode, I don't know how many times, to hear a new viewer's take on them. The episodes were always good, but they're even better now that we're back to doing It's Time to Find Out If Rhys Has Been Paying Attention each episode. Keep up the outstanding work, guys.
He added that bit.
No,
Thanks,
I didn't.
MFS.
I mean, the people wanted it, guys. What are you going to do? MFS, represent.
I think Bobby Reddy led the way, didn't he?
I believe so.
Started to bring it back.
Yeah,
Oh, great review.
absolutely.
Stoked with that.
Another one.
You got 3?
I do. Yeah, this is from recently, 7th of November. 5-star review by Danny J and the Downbeats from the USA. Shout out to the Downbeats.
Absolutely.
5 stars, a gift. For someone who's always wanted to rewatch Stargate with friends, this is the perfect podcast. No friends? No problems. This podcast comes with them built in.
Oh, stop it.
Such a pleasure to listen to the genuine fans of this great show enjoy it together. Please give it a listen. Well, that's one of the greats.
Oh,
A
absolutely.
gift.
Danny and the Downbeats, was it?
Danny J and the Downbeats.
Danny J and the Downbeats. Like,
Yeah,
I'm Googling that.
I want
Yeah.
that on a shirt.
me too.
Yeah,
Sounds
Danny
good.
J.
Downbeats.
I feel like I could watch them like down at the local, the surf club.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
They're the cover band on a
It's
Saturday
like
afternoon.
the Simpsons band. What was it? Homer's band.
The
B Sharps.
B
B
Sharps.
Sharps.
Baby
On
board.
How I adore.
Bum, bum, bum.
See, we didn't say that was going to be singing.
did.
We never knew we were going to sing, and yet,
No.
here we are.
Wasn't too bad. I mean, it wasn't great.
Did any of you like thinking about the show? Like, how far ahead do you think you like, genuinely thought when it comes to this podcast? Like, I remember us sitting there. We started it obviously in July, on the anniversary of SG1 premiering, but we were talking about it. I think around about like late March, early April, or something like that. We first or in a Facebook Messenger, us four and was
Well, I
Lincoln
think-
part of it? Then my brother Lincoln.
Well, I think
Oh, he's still
The
technically
genesis-
part of that group.
yeah, he just
but-
never spoke.
Yeah,
it
he's just
also
never-
was when I think when Joz was here. So I don't know if it was Independence Day 2 or whatever, because he goes, "This is the most SG1 people I've known in a room, fans in a room."
Yeah, well, that was
It must have been like
That was June.
already started the
Or
podcast
Independence Day
at that
would have
point,
come out
hadn't
like late
No,
June,
but
early
remember
July.
he did one before that too, didn't he?
I don't know if he did.
Or maybe
That
not a
was early on.
podcast, but that did it anyway. I don't remember.
But you're right, though. Actually, that would have been just before we started Gate. Yeah, which is crazy.
I was actually looking at our SoundCloud page today, which is where we hosted on, and it took us 7 months to get up to 50 listens a month, 50 listens a week.
Wow.
7 months we're doing. 7 months we're doing these
What?
episodes,
Yeah.
and yeah, we were getting.
Mate, we
40
thought
of
that was
those were us.
excellent.
We were like-
don't. Yeah. We had to sit
Literally
there.
35
Hang
of
on,
Rhys.
but how many times have you been listening? How many times are we going to take it away? You've listened to this time. I've listened. Oh, okay, that's not that impressive because we're listening to it.
Because I was looking at the stats.
And now we're what? 100,000?
I'm like, I'm the most. I personally have listened to the most podcasts. I'm getting
Turns
to
out he
Gate.
has been paying attention.
I'm nearly up to 1,000 plays with just myself.
He quit.
Oh man.
Actually, I did want to start doing that because it shows the top countries and the top cities and then the
Top
top
watcheries?
top listener
Countries.
per
Yeah, that's what I
month.
was going for.
Yeah.
So just a shout out to Sheboygan. Have you ever been to Sheboygan? Top listeners this week.
I've not been to Sheboygan.
I think you were saying someone's name for a second.
Yeah, that's a weird handle.
From Chicago. Ever heard of Sheboygan? No, we're big in Sheboygan. That was Home Alone. The polka twist. Polka.
Anyway,
Yeah. That,
Anyway, you know
that memorable part.
we have
from
a
Home
truck.
Alone.
We can give you a lift. But that'd be kind of cool. Have you got those stats there, Rhys?
I'm on my way.
So, I mean, I can keep talking.
Please don't.
And obviously, the chicken came first before the egg. Obviously,
Let me know that.
Mate,
Yeah.
you brought it up.
yeah. No, I just thought filling that age.
I mean, while
question.
we're waiting, I've got a recommendation here.
Yeah.
I believe it was on Facebook from Fred Firestein, who's actually just gone through and he's smashed a lot of our old eps. He's starting from back at the start and listening to everything through. So it's funny, and he's making the effort to go all the way back and comment on old posts from like season 1
Nice.
to contribute. So we really appreciate the effort that'd take. If I can't get to something in 3 scrolls on Facebook, I give up. So.
So true.
But he gave us a recommendation and said, I like their take on a series rewatch with one new viewer. It's both enthusiastic and critical where appropriate. As a longtime fan, I'm looking forward to hearing their catalogue of almost 100 episodes and more to come.
Shit.
That was posted on the
We're
5th of November.
I think I remember
Thanks, Freddie.
a comment Fred left about those early posts, and it was something like, "Oh, I think you must have retracted that opinion since then." Like, it was obviously something ridiculous we were saying when we didn't think we'd have anyone listening.
Yeah.
And then went, "Oh shit, we got an audience." Okay, rein it in a bit.
Yeah.
Not
I
a
think
lot.
we got to like nearly episode 50, and I went back and had a listen to episode 1, and obviously the way that we approached the show is a little bit different. The way we communicated, the way we either did or didn't step on each other's toes, more or less, or whatever. The way that I edited the show, even, how different it was, and I only listened.
Yeah, these days we don't give a fuck if we piss each other off.
No, it's good for the
It adds.
listenership.
We were worried about
that's
hurting each other's
entertaining.
feelings back then.
Yeah.
Now you can't get fucked.
Okay, I'm happy to hear your opinion about emancipation, Matty.
What an interesting thought.
I mean, I don't personally agree with it,
Yeah.
but I'm open-minded to
The
it.
view of the first time.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm open-minded to your open-mindedness.
Now it's. I appreciate the fact that you've got an opinion, but it's fucking wrong.
Yeah, now sit in the corner and shut the
Sorry,
fuck up.
you're wrong.
What's your favourite episode? No, it's fucking not.
It's an alternate timeline.
You're
Sit in
wrong.
the corner and shut the fuck up.
In all fairness, most of that was Lincoln telling you to shut the fuck up.
Yeah, we don't want
I
you
mean,
to
I'm
shut
happy
up.
to do it, but let's point the finger where
one,
it's
of
deserved.
one of my favorite moments or lines, I think, was when you guys had been debating about something for weeks, Maddie and Brendan, and
Oh, yeah, the point of origin. You want to go on that again?
Oh,
no.
Jesus.
But say it was
Well, we
that,
can,
right?
because I was right and I won
Yeah,
that.
I
So
was-
let's go. Let's
No,
go.
you
I don't know.
Change
Whatever
your
the-
argument.
Your
Whatever
argument
the
did change a
argument
fair bit.
No, it didn't. It's the exact same
Whatever
thing.
the argument was, and Lincoln come in and he's like, "Oh, that, yeah," and blah, agree with Brendan. You're like, "Oh, well done, we got a professional here." And just that line, because I think that line in particular infuriated Maddie, and we've used it probably 3 times, but it's only whenever they've agreed with Brendan. It's we got a professional here.
Yeah,
so
and
good.
yet when I made the mistake of speaking to Craig off mic, and when I was talking about the alternate timeline versus alternate reality, he's like, "Oh yeah, you were totally right. I totally get what you were saying." And I made the mistake of not getting him to talk
Wait,
about.
don't
it when
put
it was
words in Craig's mouth.
Yeah, where's Sean
not
Gray
here to
didn't say
defend
that?
I've got a text. I bet you if I scroll back, I can find the text.
I mean, Craig's got a gun. I'm not going to argue with him.
Craig says you were right, and
Yeah.
you were fucking
Oh,
right.
fine, don't shit me. Yeah, absolutely you're right.
Well, that's actually
He'll
on
bury
that.
you in a ziggurat.
We don't need to sit here and argue about it, but you and I just you and I were texting each other one night for ages, and
Dick pics?
because you had been
Oh,
saying,
because I wanted to get the whiteboard out and explain
did.
it to these two Muppets.
and then
on
we
what
I'm
I
like-
was talking about.
and I said, "Let's do it." And then the more we spoke, I'm like, "Oh, we actually don't need a whiteboard." What you had been saying, no,
You're wrong.
because you're wrong.
Quite blatantly.
No, because what Maddie had said in the episode was, I think we're getting mixed up on terminologies. And we're like, no, that's not the case. And then I'm like, you know what? We are, but this is why we've thought what we thought. And you're like, okay, yeah, I can see that, but we end up agreeing almost. And then something else one of us said,
Yeah.
and then bang, I'm like, no, fuck it. We need the whiteboard. Shut up.
we
I'm
can
not-
we can
stop
agree that none of us actually know anything about
well,
multiverse.
it's all theoretic. Like none
But
of
it was
can be proved. It's
within
all scientific
context. Yeah,
theory.
it was just strange how, like, literally, we hadn't spoken about it before we come into
But
the
even so,
episode.
it's,
but us
it's
three were like,
whatever Neil deGrasse Tyson said, or Rick and Morty, or Futurama.
no, you had to bring Rick and Morty into it, didn't you?
Right.
You know, like,
But they're all different theories. Not all of them match up.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
yeah.
So it's like different thoughts,
Different
schools
takes
of
on it.
thought, and we're trying to mash it into Stargate, which has its own hypocrisies, much
Yeah.
like
And that's the thing is, I've watched so much more
Christianity.
sci-fi than you guys, so I'm
Sorry.
bringing in different
And the rest,
things.
and the rest of them.
Even before you said that, just reminded me of that line from The Simpsons. Ned Flanders, you know, that storm hits, and his house is the only one that gets damaged, and he's in the church, and he's praying to God by himself. It's like a recovery center, and his family are the only people in there. And he prays to God, and he says, "God, I don't know what I did, you know, because I tried to do everything the good book told me, even the stuff that contradicts the other stuff." Even as a young child, I knew that was funny and relevant.
so good.
What's the biggest, longest sort of stint at one time watching SG1 that you can think? And I almost want to go first because I know it's going to get bettered. I think because I don't know why. I just started thinking about like, what's some of my favourite memories of SG1, and it was late, or not even late high school. It was out of high school. It was actually the year Lincoln, and I guess you too, Rhys, would have went to Schoolies Week.
I didn't graduate. I was working.
Okay, well there we go.
Didn't have a childhood.
You quit intentionally.
That week,
not to.
whatever happened. Okay.
I'm quitting. I'm grade 11. I'm like, you're an idiot. You just basically have to turn up and you get free food from home. He's like, fuck that, I'm working at Donut King.
Jesus.
You know what? I always wondered
Fuck
why they didn't
school.
ask you to come back and speak to the kids. Fuck
Actually,
it, show
Eddie
up
did,
and
and
get free food.
I go, I'll do you a favour and not bother.
No, I've been asked to come back to grade 12 and talk, but I get back there and I'm like, don't know what you want to do? Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
You don't want to go to uni? I didn't.
No, make
Don't
a
worry about it.
podcast.
You know
Kill
what?
it.
Just like
cares?
just do what you want. You know, they
You'll
say
land
that
on
whole-
your feet.
They say that OP score and whatever you called in your respective states.
I mean,
and
sure, if you want to be a
countries.
doctor, you want to be a
sure,
douche.
do that.
Go for
Study
that.
up.
If you want to
It's
make your
like,
parents happy, go to uni. If you
Don't
want to make
just-
yourself happy, drop out right now.
Don't go to uni just because that's what you're supposed to do when you leave school. And I just saw the teachers just looking at me from the back of the room going, what is he telling these children? And I'm like, I'm here for the alternative future, right?
I'm alt rock. That's what I'm here for.
But Lincoln, right?
Dude,
So
guys, go and do drugs.
But you know what?
Go to parties. Get
I wish
wasted.
I wish someone had to come to me in grade 12 and said that. Don't stress
Absolutely.
as much because you, as a kid, and you're 17, your body's changing. You're going through these weird days where shit's happening. But
Live coaching with Brendan.
but you know, sometimes just relax. You got to relax when you take a shit, and it comes out easier. That's all I'm saying.
And you know what? Right now, you're not even talking about pooing. It's just it's such a metaphor. I love it. I love it.
Look, I got serious, and you guys were clowning about, so I thought to stuff it. No, because when you're in grade 12,
Oh, you're still talking good.
there's so much anxiety that you didn't do grade 12. You wouldn't know.
Yeah, was never anxious, mate. Look at me. Happy
at
as
me.
fuck.
Stress free. No, I remember that. I
I mean,
remember
I was
going.
depressed for over a decade, but whatever.
I went to like 3 different unis to look at what they could offer, and every uni offers something different. So when I would go and look at one uni, I would only consider the options for my future that uni could provide me. And I'm like, oh, and then I went to one, and it's I can't even think of the name, but whatever it is, it's ACU, Australian Catholic University, right? Just north of the city we live in, right? But like the 2 big things they do, you're either
Father
doing
Mitch.
nursing or teaching. And I'm like, okay, what do I want to be, a nurse or a teacher? It's like, I was only going to go to uni because that's what you have to do. And it took
Excuse me?
years after that where I
Where's
realised,
the pedophile course?
Oh, jeez.
oh, wow.
That's written into both. I would.
That's your ticket in.
That's a prerequisite, mate. Get the fuck out.
Well, only
Yeah.
4 kids. Fucking get it back out there,
suppose
get some
I'm
life
just
experience,
trying
and
to
come
think-
back.
I'm trying to think which course would be easier, because it's like if you do a teaching course where you only need to read one book, the Bible, because that tells you everything you need. And then I guess if you want to do the nursing course, all you need to know is how to pray the cancer away. So,
Mate, thoughts and prayers, bro.
yeah, thoughts and prayers.
No, you don't pray it away because it's there for a reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You pray that
He's
they
got a
die and go
plan.
to
Yeah.
heaven.
Don't fuck around with it. It's a good
Yeah.
plan.
Plan. But anyway, it was the year then that Lincoln went to schoolies and that Rhys would have had to have stuck through, and I'd actually forgotten that that's what had happened in your life. I'd forgotten all that.
That you're such a loser.
So Lincoln
I
goes
was.
to schoolies week. If you're Australian, you know what
And-
that is. If you're from other parts of the world, is it like spring break? Is that
Party
what they do?
week.
Like it's party.
Yeah,
You
basically,
right,
yeah.
you finish high school and you go. We go to the Gold Coast and you get drunk for a week.
Delta Kappa, bro.
if that's what you're into. Now, my mum, happy to send me the year before. I went down there with a couple of mates, Brendan included. We hang out for a week. We don't get too crazy. Most of us, well, I say most of us, well,
Nerds.
a couple of us didn't drink. A couple of us only had a couple of drinks the other week. Other ones got plastered every night. It was a mixed bag.
I didn't drink at all.
Yeah, I think I had a beer, and my first drink was a beer. Second drink ever was a cocksucking cowboy shot. I'm like, I
Fuck
think I've
yeah.
stepped up a few levels here.
My
I'll step it back.
first drink at schoolies blew my mind because it was a root beer float type thing, but with chocolate ice cream instead of vanilla. I didn't know that could be done.
Stop it.
Just rule
different
breaking.
flavored ice cream.
Yeah, I always
You
thought
just
no, you have
changed
to put
my life.
vanilla in there, right?
Why have I never? I mean, I've
Coke Spider with a drop of chocolate in it.
Boom.
so much wasted time.
Yeah,
32 years, I've never considered that.
all right.
Waste of life I've been through.
Shit. Anyway, Mum sends Lincoln down. He's allowed to go to schoolies, and he went with one of our cousins, but she didn't entirely trust him the same way she trusted me, or she just knew he was a lot crazier and more fun than I was. And
He just knew there'd be more pussy coming his way.
basically, there was that, right? So Mum says to me, you're going to schoolies with your
Hey,
brother.
Sarah.
I'll pay for you to stay, but you are going to schoolies with your brother. My girlfriend at the time hated that. She's like, it's independent. I'm like, I get that. I've been preaching it for a year, and now I have to go with him. But
But you're
as
going down there as a clam jam.
as a,
Yeah,
as
it's
a kind
total,
of
oh, mate, yeah, it's total drag.
as a kind of stand,
no,
though.
clam jam. It's the opposite of a cock block.
No, I'm just saying
clam
to the
jam.
girlfriend, it's a drag.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
God, I hate doing this.
Yeah.
So what I did was,
Hate living
what
with
any
brothers' leftovers.
18-year-old, yes, I was 18, I was allowed to go out and drink. Sure, I didn't have any of my mates down
Yeah,
there.
you could have been
but
the
I
cool
was
guy
legally-
buying alcohol for all
Yeah,
the 17-year-olds.
What did I do?
No.
Got a bag, put a DVD player in it, put seasons 1 and 2 of Stargate SG1 in it, and went down. I said, Link,
Mate.
you go out and have fun, mate. I'm sitting on this couch watching Stargate for a week. You do whatever you need to do.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
sat there and I punched out Stargate 1 and 2 in 7 days.
I'd like to think that if time travel ever exists, like ever becomes a thing, I can go back to a time where I can see Lincoln getting a blowjob on the beach while Mitch is watching Emancipation. And like that's.
She was Spanish,
woman?
and he never forgot about her.
That's funny.
I don't think I ever binged Stargate, like because I was always just well, when each season would come out, I would wait for it because I didn't have Fox or pay TV because my parents were too cheap for any of that stuff. So I would just have to wait for and I'd go down to
Blockbuster.
No.
Blockbuster.
What was that DVD place? You could buy, it was all
Easy
blue.
DVD.
Easy
Easy
DVD.
DVD.
Easy DVD.
Yeah,
We go down there and buy a box set when they would
Yep.
come, like the day they came out,
Yep.
because I get an email notification,
Yeah.
and then I'd spend the weekend watching that season.
They'd beat me.
Well-
Speaking of, I live in an apartment building, and shout out to one of my next door neighbours who I've never met because there's 6 apartments on my level. But I heard coming from the foyer of my level, a guy and a girl, they're a couple walking through. Her message tone was Kim Possible's beeper tone. His message tone was the Green Ranger's Dragon Flute.
Excellent.
And I'm
Nice.
like, that is couple goals right there.
Nice.
Couple goals right there.
Yeah, I don't mind that.
Boom. Yeah.
Did your SG1 binge, mate?
Well, my most epic SG1 binge was when I didn't get season 6 because I was for certain reasons. But then season 7 came out on DVD, and I'm like, all right, I bought 6 and 7 on the same day,
Oh, yep.
and I watched. I think it must have been a Thursday and a Friday, and I stayed up and watched all of season 6 from like 3 p.m.
I wish
till,
I'd done that
or like-
because
it was the whole day. I stayed up till 6 a.m. and then backed up again and watched season 7. 2 seasons in 2 days.
I wish I could have done that
Wow.
because
So
the
done.
end of season
Barely
6,
slept. Barely slept.
the end of season 6 blew my tiny mind.
Yeah.
So I wish I could have done that.
Yeah, it was great. It was
No.
like right off like a Band-Aid
Yeah.
thing. So
I could have done
good.
that, but I was watching far too much Star Trek. I did that with DS9
Mm.
once. I did all 7 seasons on VHS,
wow.
and I sat down, which I thought I did it over 3 weeks, like three days. But I was telling this story to Mitch and Ben, who works here, and they did the math and realized I couldn't have done it over 3 days. So it must have been over 4 or 5 days. But I sat down and watched from season 1 to season 7 of Deep Space Nine, just because I had a week off
Wow.
work.
That's huge.
And that's they do 26 episodes a season.
Yeah,
I
maybe
did it
I'm
non-stop.
embellishing as well, but I'm pretty sure I did it. I definitely did 2 6 a.m. 6 a.m.
Oh, that's easy because I've done that with Gilmore Girls when that came out. Like it's
Yeah.
because it even says on the front of the DVD case, it says, "Oh, one season is like 22 hours," so you can do an entire season of that over a weekend easily.
Oh, speaking of the DVDs, on the spine of season 5, I have a nitpick because I was going, what's after Between Two Fires? And I'm looking at the spine, and I knew that it was 2001, but it's not on there.
Not written at all.
What do you
It's
mean?
not on that box set.
The big fat pack. You got
Yeah,
the big. Yeah,
and the
okay,
big
I got
fat
that. I'll have
pack,
to
the-
check it home.
Version
Oh,
4,
like on the
sleeve,
big cardboard piece.
Yeah, on the spine of the cardboard. It's not even on it. I was like, what?
Wow.
And it says episode, whatever it is, 9 to 11,
Yeah.
11. So there's 4 on there.
9 to 12.
9 to 12.
Yeah.
So there's 3 on there.
4.
4. I can't remember. Is there 3 on there?
4.
Well, there's 3 written on there,
Yeah.
but then it has those numbers up there. So I'm like,
Wow.
you
Wow.
Cooper!
I suppose it was
doing
like
the
remember season 2 had those couple of episodes like swapped around and stuff, and they
Yeah.
had the numbers even in the wrong order,
Yeah.
so that they could split
Yeah, that's
Tok'ra
right.
part 1 and 2 onto 2 separate discs. So
Yeah,
you
and
had to buy
season-
both
Cheeky
discs.
bastard.
Season 2 had Thor's hammer on disc 5.
Yeah, and Hathor.
And Hathor.
Yeah.
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 2 randoms.
Which is always good for me because when I go to watch the end of, like that disc and it's like, oh, it's only got 2 episodes on it, and then you go, oh, bonus! All right, so I can sit on my ass for like another
Yeah.
hour and a half and rewatch those.
Yeah.
I was just glad that the time of Stargate SG-1 was in the time where they didn't change the DVD format, the box set. Like we got the big fat pack, so you get the 5
Yes.
discs. I think you could get both, like in the especially maybe the last season, or it was
they did
just
it-
before they brought out
did
the
it
thin
in
packs.
No, they did it in season 9 and 10. I could only get season 9 as the big thick Amaray
Oh yeah,
thing.
that's how I've got all my
Amaroka.
Atlantises.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's what
Atlantis,
they
you couldn't
did.
get the big ones.
How's
No.
this? When I was collecting Buffy back in the day on VHS, I had all, and they would do 3 cassettes, would do
yeah.
half a season. So you'd have to have 6 cassettes
Oh,
for a whole,
long play.
How's
for
the
a whole
space?
season.
Remember long play?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
like honestly, like how is the space
But
they
how's
took up
this?
physical
Yeah.
media like that? That is
Yeah,
ridiculous.
so I was there collecting away. I got to the end of season 6 in 2002 or whatever it was. They discontinued VHS, and the final season 7, only came out on DVD.
Only on DVD.
I have Voyager and DS9 on VHS and DVD, but I had to get rid of all my Buffy VHSs that people have been buying me for birthdays and stuff, and I had to rebuy the whole thing in DVD because my OCD wouldn't allow it. I couldn't have, did my head in.
And me, I've never binged it.
No. Technically,
No.
you're binging it now, but really slowly.
Quite the opposite.
Yeah.
Quite the opposite. It's death by 1,000 cuts. I'd hate it.
Yeah.
I guess
It's not bad.
Especially when there's like a shit
Okay,
episode
good.
week. When it's a shit episode week,
Yeah.
that's the only Stargate you get.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
like the good thing about it, like what you're watching it as a first timer in 2018, but you're having to experience it like someone in 96, 98, 2001, where you are getting it one episode a week.
Yeah.
But the upside of that is that
You don't have to wait a year.
season finishes,
Yeah,
season
no
starts
off
next
season.
week, bang,
yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
I often think about that, like the idea of, a fan that's like our age, but back in, 96, watching this, and they're like, oh my God, I'm 3 episodes into this show. I wonder how long it's going to go. We've literally got 17 seasons of the show, and its spin-offs like, oh, cool.
Okay.
It's all there if I want to watch it,
Yeah.
I'll stream it if I want.
Yeah. Like, I'm a James Bond fan, right? I start liking it when the 19th movie came out. That was when I started to get into it. I was old enough to watch it back then. And I'm like, I've got 19 movies there just to watch whenever I want. Like, someone might have been, like, in their mid-40s, 50s, when the first one came out in 1962. And they were just like, God, I hope my...
Fucking losers.
I hope my favourite book gets made before I die.
Yeah.
And here I'm just like, oh, yeah. Yeah, it's got all them in, like...
Skip that one.
Yeah, don't need that.
It's like when I watch
Dinner Royale.
when I watch Netflix, I'm like, I'm looking for a new show. If it's only got one season, I'll be like, I'm not starting to watch
Yeah.
that
Oh,
and
that's
having
annoying.
to wait for it.
Badana does that too. That irks me because it's like a really long movie.
Yeah, that's why I'm waiting for Westworld. I'm waiting till Westworld's got a couple of seasons built up,
Mm.
and then I can get into it.
Yeah, but if it ends on a cliffhanger, you're like, well, this is ridiculous. If it was season by season, each season had its own storyline, absolutely. But then I'll finish something with 2 or 3 seasons, and then I'll be like, have to wait 3 months for it to come out, and I'll just never watch it again.
Yeah, that's happened.
Never start
it's hardly worth it.
I reckon I'll get like that with Travelers. By the time season 3 comes out, I'll just be like, yeah.
Yeah, and when they bring them out one episode at a time, I'm like, I'm not even.
Fuck no.
That's
What's the
hard.
point?
Fuck that
That's
right in the
hard.
ass. No way.
They do
Don't
that.
like that?
wait for next week.
They
It's
do
like,
that.
Fuck you.
Like,
They did that with Stranger
That's
Times
not
or something.
That's not
Stranger
why I'm watching
Things.
Netflix. No, Stranger Things are into it.
That was Joe Rogan's stand up.
Yeah, they do that with Riverdale
Strange stuff.
because it shows on the CW in America once a week,
Right.
but we only get it here on Netflix. So you
Yeah,
only get
okay.
one episode a week, and I forget about it. So it's like in a month's
Yeah.
time, I'll go and I can watch 3 or 4 episodes.
retarded.
Not to say he who must not be named. Does Star Trek Discovery, do they do that too? Because that's on CBS All Access, right? Do they just
Yeah.
drop that, or do they release 1 episode per week on that too? And
I've
same with Netflix.
Blocked it out. I actually can't remember.
Yeah, right.
They may have dropped it all at once.
That's 3.
Mate, that's like 5. I've been intentionally dropping a whole bunch of hints because I know you guys want to get to the box of shame. All I remember is I thought, okay, I'll give this shitty show a chance. By the end of episode 3, I was like, I'm over this shit.
Are you talking about Discovery?
Discovery, yeah.
Star Trek Discovery.
I got to.
That was a pile of shit.
It was horrible, and I got to see episode 12, and I was like, oh, thank God, only 1 episode to go. And I opened up the little thing down the bottom on Netflix, and there were 15 episodes, and I was like, fuck my life.
Oh yeah, that was one that's doing once a week too. That was annoying.
Craig, who is arguably as big a Star Trek fan as me, still hasn't seen those last 3 episodes of Discovery. Like he can't. It's so
Yeah,
bad.
I forced my way through.
I only watched
Yeah.
half of
It
it.
reminded me
Now-
like of one of the Marvel shows where you're like, all right, after 10 it
Yeah.
should be done, but then they push through 13.
And
You're
it's
like,
and it's
"Ugh."
hard because DS9, Voyager, and Next Generation all have really kind of slow, not great, probably first 3 seasons of all of them. They take sort of a few seasons to get going. But when I started watching Star Trek Voyager, which was the last one, was like in its like 4th season. So I got the good episodes straight away and then would go back.
Yeah.
You know, so this is it's
Yeah, and you're already in love with the characters, so it's more. That's kind
Yeah.
of what I did with SG1 as well.
But then, having said that, after Voyager finished and Enterprise came out, that was the first show where I was in it from the start, and I didn't really like it, and that got cancelled after 4 seasons. So I'm hoping Discovery lasts less than that because it's so much worse.
Well, if they're doing a new Picard one,
That I'm kind of looking forward to until I hear more.
because that
about
has to be set after Voyager, right?
Yeah, it will because it's old Picard. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, so I'm keen. There's nothing. There's no writer attached. There's no cast attached yet. So I don't know what it will be, but I'll give it a crack and have a look. So
We got an email here from Russ from Texas.
Oh,
Rusty.
you didn't want me to do all my boxes of shame?
We'll hang on to that.
Okay. Because I've got more Star Trek gear that I need to get to as well from our listeners. So we'll save that.
That shan't be happening. Russ says, howdy from Texas.
How there?
Just wanted to let you know of another SG1 newbie that is following along Rhys's journey. That's me. Russ says his wife, Bex, has been a fan of the show since it was first aired, has the original DVDs, and I'm just editing this as I'm reading.
Yeah, go for it.
Oh, that's good. Smooth, seamless.
And
We'll
it's
watch
been
Avatar.
in constant rotation in their house, along with Gilmore Girls, Maddie.
Yeah, buddy.
You got yourself a Gilmore Girls
Hey,
fan?
little tidbit for you.
Yeah.
In a couple of weeks' time with SG1's 100th episode, Wormhole Extreme, we have a Gilmore Girls alumni in that episode. So be prepared to talk about that.
Oh, we're looking forward to it.
Yeah.
So they've been married for 18 years, and Bex's fandom of RDA goes back to learning how to program her VCR to record MacGyver.
Oh, wow,
Speaking of
nice.
VCRs? VCRs.
Is that like an STD?
It's kind of, well, look, I'm not saying anything. Obviously, Russ says his favourite character is General Hammond, being from Texas.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I've never heard anyone actually say Hammond's their favourite character, but yeah, I guess if you're from Texas, that would make sense.
Mate, he's definitely one of my favourite characters.
Yeah?
Oh, I always go not the main star, but there's obviously a supporting actor. I don't know
Yeah.
why, but I always do that.
It's you know
Yeah.
what, that's
Yeah,
another thing you
I'm
got
not
in
a big
common
fan
with
of-
Lincoln. Like Lincoln's got like he'll watch a show and it's like, but he's always got his person, and it's not one of the main people.
It must be
Yeah.
that we were both Robin to our older brothers Batman.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Growing up, it's always the
Yeah.
little guy that we love.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm not a big fan of like the alpha male kind of character. I always find a secondary character that I always sort of connect with more.
Yeah. So Russ was a fan of the movie, but never watched SG1 episodes, and then he'd just catch what was on when he's walking through the room. But fast forward to a couple of months ago, Bex told him that she was listening to a funny podcast about SG1
Oh, tell us more.
and how it revolved around a newbie watching it for the first time.
That's you.
That's a good concept.
And he was like, yeah, okay, I might listen to it. But then she said it was full of boy humour. And then he was, straight in.
Look, the
So straight into the podcast. And he says our show has actually brought them a little bit closer as a couple.
Oh.
So look,
Playing a little bit of Jack and Sam in the bedroom, are you guys?
I better hide the symbiote, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
jeez.
Tell us,
Is that boy humour?
how did that reverse Ultron go?
Anyway, he says, keep up the good work, boys. So
Oh,
cheers,
thanks,
Russ.
Russ.
Thanks,
Thank
Russ
you.
and Bex.
From the Lone Star State. Lone Star, that's right, isn't it? The Lone Star State. I'm confident. I'm confident with that.
Lone Star. That's a great restaurant. Great
Yeah,
people.
restaurant. If they want to sponsor the show,
I do like
Yeah,
that
get in
they
contact.
brought back being
Get
able to
into
throw
gate
peanuts
at
on the floor. I
gmail.com.
thought that was good.
What?
What?
You know how Lone Star used to be able to throw peanuts on the floor?
Oh, I've
back
never
in the
been
day?
there. But if they want to sponsor the show,
Great people.
Great
if you want to
people,
get in
maybe we'll
contact,
We used to
Yeah.
go to the one
Peanuts
at
will
get
throw
into
an
gate at gmail.com.
We used to go to the one at Aspley all the time, and what the gimmick there is there's a giant barrel, like a whiskey barrel, full of peanuts
Right.
at the door, and you just get a bowl and you scoop it up. But the premise is you could crack all your peanuts and just throw all the shells on the floor.
I'd do that anyway.
That was the premise.
But Donna
And
hates
that you
it.
would just be, it'd be a, myth.
Stop
Clean the
eating
nuts up.
Stop it.
But then about 5 or 10
Stop eating in the
Sweet me
bedroom.
nuts.
Then about 5 or 10 years ago, they stopped it because it got all sort of PC and all workplace health and safety. So they stopped
stop
doing
leaving
it.
your nuts on the floor.
Yeah. And
Someone's
then
going to slip on your
I
nuts.
do believe
there.
they brought it back a few years ago to much applause.
I mean, you do think about how, like, people with their nut allergies. I mean, these the peanuts, like, just people just throwing them, like it's actually raining down anaphylactic shocks onto people. It's like,
Well,
my God.
maybe.
Well, maybe, sure,
They
but
shouldn't.
I
fucking hard enough.
up there with vegans.
I mean, of course, that's
you know,
yeah.
put him in the
But
corner with
maybe.
the vegans who didn't like being in a steakhouse.
Yeah,
If you
Have a
can't handle a
Snickers bar.
nut.
Fucking hell. Eat a Snickers. You know what you like when you don't have one.
I saw.
You're alive.
Your tongue swells up.
I was Instagram stalking the other day, and I saw someone's bio on Instagram was just like, Snickers are just Mars bars with nuts. Like it was some big revelation.
Wow.
It's like, really?
Someone's like, oh my God. it
oh my
is.
God, mind blown.
Is that for real?
Yeah.
Nachos is just Doritos with cheese. What the fuck?
Oh, who eats Doritos? They're gross.
No, they're not.
CC's, mate. CC's all the way. They shit all over Doritos.
Mate, cheese and onion.
I was saying it
I've got
in
some
an
in my
accent,
bag.
so I can't say CC. They don't have CCs. They're Australian. Yeah. Every day.
You heard me.
CC's are Australian.
You heard.
They stand-
You fucking heard
But
me.
it's in the name.
CC's.
It's in
Corn
the name.
chips.
CC's, corn chips. Anyway, I'm going to give a shout out.
Whoa! No, fuck! You just blew my mind.
I want to give a shout out.
Doritos, Doritos.
Oh, you eat it.
You eat doors?
Doors and toes.
It opens the
No,
doors to
Right.
the door eats the
subconscious.
toes.
Yeah.
Right. Sure.
Doritos.
Right. I want to give a shout.
Get your foot in the door. Is what I was trying to say.
No, I'm glad you came back in the room. That's really helpful. I want to give a shout out to a couple of our listeners who have slipped into my DMs.
All right.
Now I feel like I really want to apologise because I think there's a third one and I've lost it. The screenshot.
That's usually what happens when people slip into your
Yeah.
DMs. You lose one.
But I want to give a shout out to regular contributor Damo Edwards, and also through Instagram Alex Skeller, who have both just started, due to listening to this Stargate podcast, have both begun their journey of watching Star Trek for the first time.
Box of shameless shit.
So I sent Damo my list. The list.
line has to be drawn here. This far and no further.
The
Look,
list,
if
the
you wanna
list
get
that
back-
I gave Brendan for my top 150 that he never used.
I did use it, you dumbass.
Oh, did you? No,
do
I
you
just
think he's
haven't watched
watching?
DS9 yet.
yeah, but no, you watched all of Next. You decided to watch all of
No, I
Next
didn't.
Generation. That's what you told me. You watched it all. You were in the,
No, I skipped. I did all the ones that you said until
Yeah.
season whatever 4,
Oh, right.
and then I watched from season 3 or 4.
Well, Damo then decided he was just going to watch them all from the start anyway, so
Yeah.
he's doing that. But yeah, they're both starting their Star Trek journeys for the first time and asked me for a little bit of help and guidance on where to start and all that kind of stuff. And I think there was a third person as well. I can't remember.
Wow.
God,
who-
you don't even care about it.
Yes.
Oh, no, I feel really bad.
These trekkers.
Guys, you can't even remember your name. Why do you like it?
Something
You had
Alex.
to read those two names off a piece of paper.
Something Alex. No, I've got the screenshot because something Alex said to me was he says when I sent him some info.
Or she?
No, it's Alex. It's on Instagram.
No, it's Alex.
It's
Don't assume Alex's
Yeah, don't
gender.
assume genders.
well, there's pictures of him and his missus on there. And,
Well,
you
how
know
do you
what?
know?
oh, shut up.
Could be
Says,
non-binary or
Thanks,
whatever
hi-
it is.
I sent him some
Could be a
information,
Z or a Z.
and Alex said,
Question
well, it's
mark.
actually spelled Alecks, so cop
That's
that.
a she.
What does that
Yeah.
mean?
Thanks, High
We
Pitch.
knew an Alice Kajawa. She was a girl.
Yeah, cool story.
Could have been a
Alice Cooper.
I mean, I know guys and
Yeah,
girls both
good
spell
call.
Alex, so it's
Kim-
fine, guys.
Didn't people
Beasley.
say that?
Kim Beasley's a fat politician.
Stevie Nicks.
Oh, good call.
Why are we talking about Steve's?
Uh,
Anyway, Alex wanted to
unisex
say,
names is what we're trying
thanks,
to get at.
High Pitch. Any chance doing a get into
Maddie.
get into
is-
doing a any chances doing a
Get it out, mate.
Thanks, High Pitch. Any chance doing a get into Trek type podcast?
No, not
Don't
happening.
put our names to that.
I said very doubtful. The other
Get out of
boys aren't
Trek.
really fans.
Get out of it. Get right out. Warp out.
You can trek on out of here, mate.
Yeah. To which Alex.
Warp speed.
To which Alex said, "Too bad. It'd be hilarious doing a Star Trek podcast, and you three would have to do a box of shame every time you guys mention Stargate in a Star Trek."
Well, we wouldn't because it's the
podcast."
Star Trek podcast.
Yeah,
so
we're not
we wouldn't even
stupid.
talk about Stargate.
You know why we wouldn't mention it? We wouldn't fucking be here. Can't box of shame if I'm at home.
All I want to say is there is a Venn diagram that crosses over of Star Trek fans and Stargate fans, and you dumb c***s just happen to be on the outside of it. Where I'm in the middle with all the gooey fun with the two colours mixing.
Oh, look,
know, I've
when are you
watched-
going to be on
you
10
know I'm a
Forward
fan,
with the
mate.
Dan and Dan show? Dan and Dan's 10 Forward.
Yeah.
I don't.
Dan
We'll
Pucci.
have to try and figure it out because they're he's in Rio, and I don't know whether the other Dan's in
Brazil,
the UK.
mate.
Yeah, Rio's in Brazil. Do you
Well,
know?
he might not be in Rio.
Yeah, he's
he
talking
talking
outside of Rio.
Well, don't you listen to his
No.
listen to his things because he talked about El Jesuso El Gianto.
yeah, okay, I've got
which
something.
is in Rio.
I've got
So-
something. He also.
Oh, I got that
So-
on video.
So we're
man.
filming this now. Let me correct you because he said I'm moving to X
XYZ.
location, which is nowhere near
Oh, well, there you go.
El Giante
So-
Jesus.
Well, fuck you too then.
Thanks, Pooch.
Well done.
Pooch for the win. And finally, professional in here. That's all I could say.
Jesus.
That's a throwback.
That's a good throwback. It's good you guys understand comedy. That's great.
Now, if you want to get back down to zero mentions of Star Trek, you can read from the Box of Shame, Matty.
Well, it's something I offered
You
to
won't do it
do.
now.
It's something I offered to do at the end of the season, but you guys didn't want me to do it.
It's
But
100!
just because the Box of Shame now houses my my little custom Stargate
Oh.
figurines that I made.
Oh, they've been captured again.
Line them up on
SG1.
the video thing.
SG1
Oh.
captured again.
The figurines, that is.
Well, I can't do this and read the things at the same time.
All right.
It's all right. We'll let it around it.
Let's do it.
All right. So what am I
Alright.
Well, hang on. I gotta do this properly.
Cool. Who made that?
Cool. All right, what do we got, Matty?
Okay, well, I'm just going to empty it. I talked about doing it.
So we're still talking about Star Trek. You were talking about all the Star Trek things before. You're going to continue talking about a bit of Star Trek, maybe a bit of other things.
Sure. But yeah, I just thought everyone made an effort to send stuff in, so I thought I would. Oh no, they're gonna butt fuck. I thought I would read all these out so we can hear everyone's, because I still haven't read any of these. I still don't know what else is in here. So
All right, let's do it.
I've got a long
go.
one to begin with. So
Can I just say, anyone that has joined us since the last Box of Shame, it was to punish Maddie for punish. It sounds so rough when you say it like that.
Well,
But
it
to
was-
punish
it was-
Maddie for mentioning Star
it
Trek.
wasn't punish. It was I instigated it
Yes.
because I wanted to do it as a.
You wanted to get away
I wanted
with
to
it.
offset.
Yeah, you do. Yeah,
wanted to
like you're
offset.
yeah.
I've offset my Star Trek chats.
Yeah.
With you guys humiliating me.
And listeners of
wasn't
the show
us.
would send
It was
in
the listeners.
a phrase or a line or a story, something that on a bit of paper for Maddie to read that he would never say.
In Maddie's
off
words,
his own mind.
it was Patreon members can write in something that would hurt your soul.
Yeah.
Was your words. So.
And some of them did. Some of them were fine, but some of them I may have cried myself to
was
sleep at
was
night.
it the one where Brendan gave you AIDS, full blown AIDS?
I love that one.
That was great. It was a fun night. So the first one I've got is from
Totally worth it.
Kenneth Pricer, and he wanted me to say, okay, guys, I've got to confess something. Also, I know you give me a shit a lot. Well, we can just stop there because that's all true. And I'm a good sport at all. Well, that's a lie. But
Why are you
please,
saying you're contradicting yourself?
but please don't fuck with me about this. I started going to the Church of Scientology recently.
Seriously.
Because I love science and science fiction. I mean, hell, it's got science right there in the name.
Well,
Anywho, I'm thinking of converting. They make
Fair
some
call.
very interesting and intellectual points. Also, I did some reading about the Earth and now believe that the Earth is a flat disc riding on the back of a giant tortoise. It's one of my favorites. Okay, I know this
favorite
doesn't...
thoughts of
Yeah, just
in
the
your own
thought,
mind.
just the thought of the giant tortoise and all that kind of stuff.
Where's the
Okay,
tortoise come in?
you don't know that mythology.
Fuck me drunk.
They
Really,
teach
you've
it.
never heard about the
Is that
mythology?
That must be
mythology?
on the introduction to Scientology. They
Yeah.
tell you about the tortoise.
Yeah.
That's why Maddie knows about
Tom
it.
Yeah.
Cruise lives in a tortoise. I
Okay,
believe.
I think they did it in an episode of Power Rangers too. Okay, I know this does not sound like me, but please believe me, it's the Hubbard's honest truth. Ask me anything, I will have a logical, intelligent response. I should have pre-read that and not said the last sentence. 'cause- Sorry, we don't have time. We don't have time. Let's move through. Lightning round.
So what's
fell
what's marriage like for Scientology?
I wouldn't know. I'm not married. The next one comes from
How's
Ash.
Tom Cruise?
Yeah, that's the answer.
Yeah.
He gives
Great.
Good,
great.
He's great.
he gives great head.
So great.
Ashley O.
Yo, OG.
Yeah. The Kirk Gorn fight is the most accurate fight sequence in TV history. That's original series. That doesn't really hurt because that's fine because that is pretty ridiculous. So that's fine. Swing and a miss, Ash. That's all right.
Mate, these are your thoughts.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Oh,
Come on, go.
If you're going
Let's
to do
do
it,
it.
mate, be a good sport about
Band-Aid,
it.
Band-Aid.
Do
I'm
it.
not reading that one
Yes,
right
you
now.
are. Band-Aid.
No,
Show
I'm
me,
gonna-
show me.
no,
Right, okay, I get it.
No, that one. I'll save that to the end because I can't cop that.
Okay, can't wait.
Oh god, there's
I'm
a
not
Like
reading it.
that
I'm
was
not reading it. I'm
like
waiting.
he's read shit like I've got full blown
yeah,
AIDS. Like,
yeah, that's fine.
I
I
love
cop it in
when
the ass,
Brendan
whatever.
sucks me
It's
off.
fine.
but this is one that he couldn't do.
Kenneth has another one here. He says he's a little tipsy. Oh, I'm a little tipsy on tequila, or he's a little tipsy on tequila. I don't know. But I've got to say, oh no, maybe his wife Kate wanted me to say, Dawn is my favorite character on Buffy. I like Dawn. I know she gets a lot of hate, but I like Dawn. So that wouldn't hurt either. Swing and a miss. That's fine.
Damn it.
Surprising.
Neil Johns.
Dawn would be in politics.
That's,
/
Everyone's woken
emancipation.
up to the crack of dawn.
Michelle Trachtenberg. Do you guys know her?
Yeah.
You would, Mitch. She was on
No, you wouldn't.
Gossip Girl. She was Georgina on Gossip Girl.
Yeah, and we knew you watched Gossip
She
Girl.
was hot.
Yeah, knew it.
Eurotrip, I know her from.
Oh yes, Eurotrip. That's the way to go.
She was hot.
Neil Johns. I keep a picture of Catherine Powers in a sexy dress in my nightstand to wank to every night. It's the only thing that gets me to sleep. Thanks, Neil.
Who doesn't do that?
Sure.
Mine's on my roof.
It's gross that we
Huge
discussed
poster.
how she looks so much like my mum, so that's a bit weird. Oh wow, here we go. We've got a double up on a Catherine
Weird for
Powers
you.
too. This one's from Scotty Shaw, who wants me to admit that the only thing hotter than watching Catherine Powers finger blast herself. Are we still doing earmuffs? Or,
I'm just thinking this is part of the things you're happy to read.
yeah, it's
I'm
fine.
really waiting to see what that other one is.
Yeah. So the only thing better than watching Catherine Powers finger blast herself to a certain portrait would be a grease fire at a Star Trek convention. You know what? Star Trek fans are pretty toxic, so we could stand to lose a few.
Wow.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah, Holly. I'm gonna have to leave that one to the side as well.
Second last.
Yeah, that one's gonna hurt. Oh, Sarah Bell. That one can wait as well. Here we go. Bobby Reedy. Emancipation must be the shittest episode from season 1. The only way they could have made it worse is if they turned it into a clip show, just like the second shittest episode. Politics.
Finally, Matty, you've come around.
At
Good call, Matty.
least
Good
give
call,
us
Matty.
a high quality Goa'uld baddie like Hathor.
Yeah. Great
Well
wig
done,
and
Bobby.
great body piece.
Feels
Yep.
good. Feels good to get these off my
Yeah,
chest.
about time, Matty.
So that's it, except for these last 3, and I honestly.
Go through them.
All right, these are the winners.
These are the. You know why? You know why it hurts? Because they must be true. To
These no,
him. He must. These must be extremely true.
they're so wrong.
Well,
like-
are
Well,
they?
don't-
Or are they?
Why
Why?
are you
I
your
feel
opinion?
like
If they're so wrong, why do they hurt you so much? To even think
because
about reading.
because that's why, because they're so wrong. It's
Or are they?
like I'd go to church before I'd admit to any of this stuff. I'm just so Sarah Bell, Holly Munnery, and someone I don't know who. It's just got a Stargate logo next to it. These are the 3 most hurtful. Where do I start? Okay, let's start with Sarah Bell. Lorelai Gilmore was a really weak and unlikable person.
Oh.
The show would have been better if she just accepted Emily and Richard's control over her life. Sarah Bell, you are. If I believed in Satan, you would be the spawn of Satan.
Oh.
Shit.
Got him.
That's rough.
Got him good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you agree with that, Matty?
Sure.
It's rough.
Yep.
That's rough. I believe
No,
it.
Matty, you've betrayed yourself there.
Holly. Holly. Star Trek Discovery is way better than Voyager.
Good. Yeah, fair call.
It
Yeah.
just had a strong female lead that I could really believe in.
Finally we get one.
Yeah, good call, Matty.
Right?
Yeah.
First black lead too, as well, in Sneakle Martin Green.
Really, really opening
yeah,
up
great.
and
Yeah,
being honest with us.
breaking windows and shit. Something like that.
Whatever the saying is.
I don't know if I can say this last
So
one.
last one.
This must be the best Box of Shame entry ever.
It just has our Get Into Gate thing next to it, so it might be a bit of a Facebook one. I don't know. Brendan knows way more about Stargate than I do.
Oh, really? About time you admitted that.
Good call.
shit.
I mean,
box-
we've
so-
all finally he's come out and said it.
This Box of Shame is
mean,
being
we-
renamed the Box of Lies.
We all knew it, but we didn't want to say it. I'm glad you brought it up, Matty.
I wrote that.
Oh, did you write it?
Brendan
That
put
makes
that one in.
sense. That makes sense.
But we got a sound bite for
Actually,
that, so that's good.
I did. I did have an idea that I wanted to do based on that, for Patreon or maybe for Facebook or something like that. But we'll need our listeners' help. It might be safest to send it to Mitch. Maybe address it to Mitch, or we'll think of a particular title. But what I'd love to do is like a Sale of the Century Double Jeopardy style, not the movie, Double Jeopardy style quiz show.
Jeopardy.
Oh, sorry, Jeopardy. Yeah, I'm thinking of the final thing, which
Jeopardy.
is Double Jeopardy. No, Double
Double
Jeopardy's the
Jeopardy.
final. The
Tommy
final.
Lee Jones can
Final
host it.
Jeopardy. Oh shit! Yeah, Ashley Judd.
Yeah.
Could,
She was in Star Trek.
she could totally do it.
But I'd love to have me and Brendan, and maybe even get Lincoln in as a third.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah, fuck you, Mitch.
and no.
He, obviously the
because-
host.
What do I do? I check the facts, I guess.
Yeah. No. Well, hello.
That's
We died.
3.
Yeah, you killed us.
Oh, so I do something.
Well, no. I thought. Well, obviously Mitch would be the host, and Rhys will just have to be like the Adriana Xenides that turns the letters because he can't know about any of it.
Yeah, he doesn't know shit.
But I thought the three of us, either the two of us or the three of us, could do like a Stargate quiz. And I thought, well, if fans want to send in questions that they can quiz us on,
Yeah, Rhys can do all the back end stuff.
Well, no, I can't because I've only seen half the series.
yeah. So I don't want
good
Rhys
call.
to see questions with answers that are going to give away maybe a season 7.
Well, maybe we can do a
thing or
10-show
something
series.
Like that.
Each show is about each season.
Yeah, we could do something like
Yeah.
that.
And I can be involved in the first 5.
Sure.
All the Jeopardy you can handle.
Or do I want to be?
Is that a reference to something?
Yeah,
Yeah.
mate.
Cena Man.
Cena Man.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Paulie Shaw.
Oh, I love the movie. I just haven't seen it in a while. I don't remember that.
Samwise.
Some ways, Sean Astin.
Samwise. Yeah,
You know
Samwise.
Sean Astin's dad, John Astin, Gomez in Adam's Family, the original. That's true shit.
Oh, the like black and white original.
Oh, don't say.
Ooh, don't say black.
I was going to say, I thought you were talking about the movie.
Can't even say white these days.
No.
I thought you were
Just
talking about
human.
the movie because that was Raul Julia.
Don't see colour.
Don't say go.
Don't
I
say
don't
any
see
colour.
colour. I don't see colour.
Yeah, I
See
know.
colour.
That's why
Just
it's in.
human.
That's why it's in
Human.
black and white because there's no color.
Yeah.
But yeah, so if you wanted to send in questions for like a Jeopardy style Sale of the Century, quiz show, and
They have
yeah,
Sale of the Century overseas.
Sail
They don't have it here
of the
anymore, but yeah.
century.
I think they had it back in the day.
Didn't they rename it to something like Trouble or some dumb shit?
Because
We should survey. We should,
Temptation,
Is
yes, that's it.
we should survey
No.
100
Yeah.
Get Into Gate fans.
That's the only ones we got.
That's Family Feud.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what we should do. Family Feud style show.
We
Pow
don't,
pow.
we don't have enough people.
That's right.
Yeah, you can do like polls. You only need 3
We just,
people to get a result.
We're just brainstorming here.
Yeah,
Okay.
just throwing up.
No, I love when you guys take my ideas and take them on a left turn and they can end up to be something completely different.
That's all it's where
You
all
said
your
Sale
good
of the
ideas come
Century, and
from.
we said Family Feud. What's so weird about that?
Well, Sale of the Century is just one person versus one person or 3 people. It's like, well, Family Feud is like 4 people
Oh, I
versus
see what
4
you're
people,
saying.
and we don't have 4 people. Unless you want to put
it
the Gibsons on one side and the Lewises on the other side, and I'll be the Muppet in the middle hosting it. That's the closest we're going to get
Mate,
to,
we got a
to
few.
Family
We
Feud.
got a few 5th members.
But they're not. Well, I suppose Jaws is family. So that's 3 versus 2.
Look, we don't have to settle it
Hey,
all.
Matty, you're
here.
a Gibson.
Yeah, someone's got to host it.
I'm down. Let's do it.
Oh God. Move on.
Family Feud, it is.
Don't want you to agree with me.
Oh, yeah, well, that's all done.
It's
time to find out if
Rhys has been paying attention.
100th episode trivia. We're doing redemption.
Oh,
Redemption round.
Shit.
So these are 5 questions you've already had
Abydos, 2
and
military
have
members.
not got them correct.
Harry
It's time for
Ray.
you to pay attention.
How many questions
What?
are?
5
What?
questions.
What?
Starts after this.
Is that all?
What is the name of the dipshit colonel in Bane?
Mayborn.
Correct. True or false? Braytac was not in season 4.
True.
Correct. Finish this sentence. If you immediately know the candlelight is fire, the meal was cooked.
A long time ago.
Correct.
Jeez, that was a
What
gimme.
does Carter give as her cover story for what goes on in Cheyenne Mountain?
Geometric telemetry. Telemetric
I'll give you
geometry.
that. What? Name the 4 great races.
Tolan. No. Knox. Asgard, furling.
Run out of time there, big fella. You've and ancients. So he just turns out the clock is right, and you've boned it. It's deep space radar telemetry or NORAD or anything.
Yeah,
you could have said anything.
I got that.
Yeah, I gave it to you. Yeah, good call. But just for the people
I think it's
playing
a geometry.
at home, yeah, Ancients, Nox, Asgard, Furlings, and Braytak was not in season 4. Mayborn was correct. Dipshit Colonel in Bane. And I gave you a little bit more of the quote for Candlelight is Fire.
You have everything but the last 3 words.
Well, I just didn't think you'd get it at all.
And I didn't.
Isn't that the idea?
The meal was cooked a long time ago. Anyway.
Rhys, your father made you wrong!
You stupid son of a bitch.
You fucking milk water. Still not over
What a
it.
son of a bitch.
Still not
Should have
over
put that in there. You
Mate,
would have got it wrong again.
My milk water isn't as salty as you are right now.
Sassy.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it. 100th episode special.
Thanks for joining us.
I mean, we almost got this whole way through without mentioning Origins. I just
Hey,
saw it on my
Rhys,
board and I wanted to do it.
What's your favourite episode so far?
Of SG1.
No, of
Get Into Geek.
Supernatural.
of Star Trek Voyager. I've talked about it enough. You should know.
Yeah. What is it?
Oh, shit. Oh, Tin Man, for sure. No.
Could be. It's great. Great episode.
Nah, look, I can't go past, was it Thor's Chariot when we found out, Thor was a Roswell Grey. I think that was the first time my mind blew in SG1. I think that's the first time I really was like, oh man, I think I love this show. I like this show. Like it was, yeah. Thor's Chariot so far.
Maddie, you got one so far?
Ooh, that's like picking kids.
A little bit.
I wasn't prepared that you were going to ask me. I thought we were just asking Rhys because he was the newbie.
I wasn't prepared either. I was kind of off the cuff.
I think.
When was the last time you picked kids?
First
That's what
ones?
I mean. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking first. In terms of, like, if you said, what episode do I want to watch right now? I'd say first ones.
Yeah. It's pretty good. It's pretty great. Mitch?
I think I'm always going to stick with...
Matter of Time.
Yeah, Golden Oldie, maybe a matter of time.
You don't want to watch, the first ones maybe once?
Yeah, sure. First everything.
Just once?
He saw it 10 years ago.
Yeah, so it's 10 years ago, mate. It's fine. Yeah, probably schoolies, mate.
No, that was only season 1 and 2.
Yeah, obviously.
I was hoping you weren't listening.
I mean, if you want to watch it, there was a lot of school stuff there where honestly I tuned out. I'll be looking forward to hearing it back when the podcast drops.
If it makes the cut.
Yeah.
And obviously I'm going with Window of Opportunity because it's the best one.
Sure.
Nice. What about our favourite Get Into Geek podcast that we've recorded?
For me, it's definitely the dicking the ground one.
One False Step.
One False Step. Yeah, love that.
That's good fun.
Yeah, it's pretty fun.
I'd have to agree with you. Is there the One False Step or Scorched Earth was a lot of fun because I didn't expect us to laugh that much in Scorched Earth.
Dropping the Cold Lazarus was another good one. That
Oh,
was the poo
that
one.
was
the
good for
poo.
round
Yeah,
one.
absolutely.
What was in Beneath the Surface? I don't.
Oh, I just thought it would be a really serious episode, and then we started talking about the bipolar species, bipedal species, and dicks on their back and playing PlayStation.
No, that was Beneath
Scorched
the
Earth.
Surface. That's Scorched Earth. Yeah.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you said Beneath the Surface earlier.
No, you said that.
Losing my mind.
But I feel like the looser we are in the episode, the more I enjoy it.
The more serious the episode, the looser we are.
Yeah, absolutely. Cold Lazarus, like you said.
For me, it's getting away from an actual episode for a second. One of my favourite, probably in... I was going to say Origins just because of how much fun we had with that, but I actually really liked...
It's because I wasn't there, right?
Yeah.
No, I think about you being in that episode because you own the start of it.
That's all anyone talks about.
It is.
And because I had literally watched the last episode sitting in the chair behind this desk before we went on and pressed record. Like, I watched it and then we started, so it was very fresh for me. You guys had done it a couple of days earlier. We were coming at it, although with a different experience, but the same opinion, basically. And we had a really honest chat, like the microphones went off, I think. But my other one is not Demons, but the side episode to Demons, that it became its own podcast. Like we just had a tangent in the middle, and it ended up being longer than what was left of the podcast. But it was its own special. I actually listened to that. Oh, I don't know, twice, 3 times after we'd uploaded it, like a long time after we uploaded it. I just really liked. We
Played
just
it for
sat
the
down.
missus and all
No,
her family.
Sci-fi Our Religion.
Didn't play that for the in-laws because it was very anti-religious. But I just actually really liked that because it was just a genuine chat. We're just
I think it was more pro-science, if anything.
Well, that's right. Yeah.
Well, there was some
We weren't
religion,
focused
man.
on religion, just loving science. So
I think my favourite episodes, the ones that I think I've listened back to more than sort of once, is our it's either season 2 or season 3 review, like our wrap
yeah,
up.
they're good fun.
Yeah.
I mean, Brendan ruined season 4 with his spreadsheet,
No,
but
I've made it better. Made it more defined.
You define the episode.
But, and I mean, and
series.
season 1 was just me getting shat on for politics and emancipation. So I'd say yes, probably season 2 and season 3 finales, the episode
reviews.
wraps. I think were probably my favourites to listen back to.
Yeah, they're good fun.
Yeah, I can listen to those season reviews a few times without remembering exactly what we said.
Yeah.
I always go, which episode was that? When we start rolling through them quickly.
Yeah.
Beneath the surface and then Scorched Earth. You're like, oh, yeah. It's just the names of them get blended together.
do you think you've got really good recall with the episode names, Rhys? Like, having only watched them once, and we're now like nearly 100 Stargate SG-1 episodes in.
Yeah, somewhat.
You seem to have a pretty good recall.
I've listened back to the podcast episodes that's
one of the things I'd love to do for Rhys as maybe a little bonus feature somewhere for Patreon or Facebook is do the previously on Stargate and either play him the previously on Stargate part from say Exodus and Enemies and see if he can name each of those episodes that it previously on.
Yeah.
Or also just get a screenshot from an episode and see if he can pick it up. Obviously, it can't just be a shot of them walking through the Stargate because that happens every time. But if we can,
everyone's sitting at the desk at the
in
meeting
the
table.
briefing room, yeah.
That could be any episode.
Yeah. So yeah, we could get like screenshots of a bunch of episodes and then test Rhys and see if he can, you know.
They do that on some of the Facebook pages, and it's just like Hammond in the control room, and it's like, come on.
Or that stupid one that was like, oh, we're going to do a really, really super, super tight zoom in of an Aratus bug on Taylor's chest, and so you can just see the ridges. And then someone says Aratus bug, and they're like, no, you've got to name the episode as well. And it's like, fuck you. It takes all the fun out of
You
it.
spelt it wrong.
Bitch. You spelled it wrong. It's incorrect. Fuck you. You're the worst kind of fan. Get Unless you're a listener of the show.
They're great people.
Yeah,
if they want to sponsor the
absolutely.
show.
Yeah, if you are listening.
Yeah, patreon.com/Get Into Geek.
But
We'll create a new tier for
if
you.
you're listening, you know who you are, and you know that Aratus question was bullshit.
Maddie went on a bit of
You
a
know it.
Facebook rant about it.
I don't even, and I'm not even
feud.
part of the group. It's just because you shared it in our group message, and then I
Yeah.
clicked on the link and went on it, and I was like,
Because I'm going, Aratus bug. They could at least say, yeah, you got the animal right. You need to.
yeah, get the episode or whatever. Yeah, no,
Even the bloody radio does that.
yeah, yeah, that's.
Oh, good app, boys.
Good fun. Did we get enough content? How long did that go for?
A long time. It's an hour and a half. Yep.
Well, that's the unedited version.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Edited version, 28 minutes.
Yeah.
It's been a pleasure doing 100 episodes with you boys, plus specials.
Yeah, it's more than 100.
Yeah, plus. I said plus specials.
100.
Good call. Plus,
We're
yeah,
taking the
man.
Christian approach to it. We're only going to count the things that we like.
No, I like the other ones.
We like them all.
Yeah, it's like trying to pick a kid, isn't it?
It's like having a birthday
Hang
on a leap
said
year.
that wrong.
All right, that's our celebration for 100 episodes. I was waiting for Maddie to go, sort of.
Sort of.
Sort of.
Sorry, I was just trying to give a quick.
We-
In my head, I was already singing "Celebrate Good Times."
Come on! We
rolling
will
out.
be back next week to talk. Desperate Measures is our next Stargate SG-1 episode that we will be talking. That's episode 11 of Season 5. In the meantime, you can check out our full catalogue 100 episodes plus specials on your Get Into Gate podcasting channels, wherever you like to subscribe and listen to or stream. Check us out there. Find us on the socials, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. If you want to chuck us a follow, like, subscribe, get in touch via those ones, hit us up there, Get Into Gate at Stargate Podcast, or getintogate@gmail.com, and send us a long-form message or even a voicemail, and get in on that, as a few of our listeners have done in the last couple of weeks. Otherwise, my name's Mitch_Lewis on Twitter and Instagram. Matty, where you at?
At High Pitch Matty.
Brendan.
At the Bren Gibson.
Reese.
I'm at the Flying Gibson.
And we do thank our sporadic fifth man that have come in over the course of the last 100+ episodes, being Lincoln, then being Joz, and also Craig, who was the last fifth man to join us. So big thanks to those guys contributing, and also to our patrons, of course, who help support the show. It's important.
The real stars of the show.
Yeah, absolutely. Everyone listening, we do appreciate your listenership, and you've gotten us here. And our patron supporters obviously help us in another way,
I'm not sure if we would have continued had we'd only had 10 listeners every week. Maybe. We wouldn't have been as dedicated.
Yeah, there would have been a lot more gaps. Like there'd be a lot more, like season 1, we were off for 3 weeks and stuff like that. Now, we really do appreciate every single person.
It's so good.
Who jumps onto Facebook and likes and comments and just listen. Even those that just listen. Those of you that just listen means a lot, because we're starved for attention and we really want...
Yeah, basically, we just want to come in here and pretend like we're important.
We find validation in it.
Yeah, like, I don't want to speak on Rhys and Brennan's behalf, but I know that for
Please
me,
do.
at home with my wife, I go, look, hey, I don't want to have to leave home, but people are depending on this podcast to come out when we say it's going to come out. We've got listeners that are waiting on this.
Live to entertain.
I wish I didn't have to do it. Okay,
and
I'm obliged to give them what they want.
And me, as the single guy with no responsibilities, no commitments, nothing like that, it gives me an excuse to shower and leave the house.
Yeah,
so
and we appreciate that.
Okay,
so thank you.
So do your neighbours.